Welcome to vlog 38.
Make it work, make it work, make it work.
Welcome.
Welcome to vlog 38, and this is another Project Runway review. And this is episode 6 of season 10. And this episode was called L'Oreal Hair Challenge Make Over My Friend. And this challenge was very exciting as usual, and it had a lot of drama, and I didn't take as much notes as I should have because honestly there wasn't as much notes to take, and there wasn't really anything to take notes on. I just said that 3 times, and I just kind of got lost with the episode. There was some drama which I am going to talk about in this vlog, and I will start talking about the review now. Obviously, if you have not watched episode 6 yet, please stop watching this vlog now. Thank you. Alright, so in the beginning of the episode, they always open up in the Atlantis buildings with the people waking up and stuff like that. So Dimitri, the first thing that he says is Dimitri feels that he actually feels that he needs to win a challenge because he is losing his confidence. So, winning a challenge is always good because it builds your confidence, but I still think he's a pretty decent designer, but he is losing his touch and stuff like that. But like I said, the challenge was L'Oreal main challenge, Make Over My Friend. But in layman's terms, the challenge was basically use regular people, help a friend challenge, and basically there's 2 clients in the challenge. One, a friend would bring another friend who would get a makeover to get a dress or something like that. And the designers would design for them, blah blah blah. And obviously Melissa could not get eliminated because she had immunity and stuff like that. And the person who always does the hair makeup stuff, who's in charge of it, is Johnny Levy, and he's the consulting hairstylist for L'Oreal Paris, who does all the hair makeup and stuff, like I said. So the designers obviously get 1 day to do all this modeling stuff and design stuff, and they have $150 at Mood. Now then, when he gets his model, who, remember, we're using regular people, so these are not models who don't know how to model. These are regular people that you could basically pick off the street. He's not happy with his model, who is actually a plus size model. I was wrong in my last review when I said they would be plus size models. There's only one who is not actually a model, like I just said. And he was not happy because he was the only one that got that kind of model. And he was not happy because he thought it was not fair that he's the only one that got some model that is not a natural woman, which makes no sense because she's a woman and she's obviously natural and she's a human being. Van is an idiot. But let's not talk about Van just yet, because Van gets very stupid in this episode. He just doesn't like plus size models because it's the first time he's used a real woman. Obviously, every person in the world is a skinny model, right? Tell me in the comments if you agree. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic and snarky. Okay, so the clients that were in the episode were Nathan with Lena. And Lena is an R&B pop star, and what she wanted was a parent shape dress with midriff in the middle. And what Nathan wanted to do was give her a new no-hooker mesh arms, because he didn't really like her design, and we'll get into that in a second. Chris Chris's client was Kate, and Kate wears blazers and jeans, and he wanted to make a dress that can go with such an outfit. And Elena's client was Jenna, and she wanted to make a high-waisted skirt, and the blouse that she would make would hide the skirt, because the high-waisted skirt, because Jenna was very curvy and just didn't want to hide that, but wanted to hide the high waist stuff. And Gunner's client was Kim, who was an inspiring actress. And the thing that Gunner found out about Kim was she isn't exactly bold when it comes to dressing, but she wanted to be bold. And Tim said that in the beginning, the dress kind of looked like a piñata, but as long as Gunner cleaned it up, it would be perfectly good. And what Tim Gunn saw in the review part of the episode was not what was on the runway. What Gunner made was beautiful, black, chiffon, and beautiful. And Gunner has actually been behaving on the show lately, which I'm proud of him. And I want him not necessarily to win just yet, but he's really, really good. And Fabio had to make something for an Asian woman by the name of Ko Lee or something. I don't know how to say her name. Client wanted her, so her friend wanted her to be more feminine, because all she wears was jeans and button-down shirts that look like a woodsman, and she doesn't like to show her cleavage or anything, and she doesn't like to wear dresses. So that was kind of a tough one for Fabio. And then Sonja's client was Amanda, and she wanted to have more of a mature look, and she wanted to have a nice hourglass shape, and she wanted to hide the tummy as well, because she, I guess, had a little gut, something like that. And then Ven, and this is where it gets exciting, guys. And Ven's client was Terry. And like I said earlier in the vlog, he has never worked with a plus size model. And Ven was throwing her under the bus, saying that she was having no shape whatsoever, and she had no sense of style whatsoever. And the second Ven says this crap, Fabio and Elena both lost respect for him right after these comments. The woman came to get a once in a lifetime experience to make herself look and feel better, and all he does is bash her. If you can't work with all body types, why be a designer? Stupid man. Okay, let's not talk about Van just yet. Alicia's client was Martina, using pink stuff, which was very, very unusual for her, and the last person to use them. What really pissed me off about the episode, though, is when the way they edited the show. It was like 2 seconds of talking to Alicia. Why was it like 2 seconds of talking to Alicia and then like 3 minutes of talking to everybody else? I just don't get it. And Dimitri's client was Angela, and she looked as plain as it gets, so he wanted to give her some attitude. And Elena thinks that the dress that he made was boring. It is just yawn. That's what she said. But she said it in kind of a nice way. Not that Elena can be nice, but whatever. Alright, now, we're going to talk about Ven, because Ven is a jackass. And I didn't think Ven could ever be such a jackass, but Ven is a jackass. Ven right away says to her client, black is very slimming. Okay, not exactly an insulting comment, but it's kind of not something you say directly to your client. And I don't know why, but this actually rubs me the wrong way. and the expression of disappointment and confusion on the model's face was priceless. You guys should have seen the episode. If you somehow are watching this and haven't seen the episode, it was priceless. I can't even repeat it. It was just... I'm not going to edit this. It was just wrong. The client was so upset. She was able to handle it at that point of the episode, but it was just wrong. At that point, then he tried to make her try a belt. And this is where it went wrong even more. But this belt is too small, so ask them if they have bigger belts. I don't care if the woman is the fattest person in the world. You don't tell that to the client. And Chris is doing this. Cut it out, cut it out. Don't say that to the client. And then the client's mouth goes like this. And she starts crying. And she gets very annoyed. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then they get extra time in the morning, and instead of 2 hours, they get 3 hours for hair and makeup and stuff like that. So, yay them. Alright, and then when, they get the extra time, Ben's client finally says that she's embarrassed, and he doesn't apologize. What a jackass. Okay, so after all that crap, we go to judging, which is very, very exciting. Okay, you have your Michael Kors, you have your Nina Garcia, you have your Heidi Klum. And your guest judge was Alice Temperley, who is a fashion designer from Temperley, London. Okay. So we have Nathan, Eliana, Melissa, Gunnar, Alicia, Chris, Van, Dimitri, and Sanjia. And I will tell you who is safe. At first, the safe people were Eliana, Melissa, obviously because she had immunity, Alicia, and Chris. Now, the funny thing is, Chris actually thought that himself, Eliana, and Alicia would be the bottom three, but obviously he's glad that they weren't the bottom three. And Melissa is obviously safe because she has immunity. Lucky lady. Now, she made some kind of scarf thing with her dress, and the dress was beautiful, but the scarf is completely covering it, and nobody could see the dress. So, stuff like that. Alright, so the low dresses was Nathan, one of them. And the client wanted something sexy but classy, and Heidi Klum quoted, "Hoochie Mama!" I don't know why I was so excited about that. And Michael Kors said she looked cheesy, and Nina Garcia said nothing works, earrings and everything else is horrible, and Nathan was told that he's not a seamstress but a designer and stuff like that. And Gunnar was a high. Heidi Klum was best model here today because Kim was just dancing like crazy and it was just funny. And then it's flirty, has movement, but it's not childish. And then the guest, who is Alice Temperley, said it's beautiful body, etc. And then Nancy Garcia said it's fantastic and it's a good look. And then let's leave Van for last. Dimitri also was a high, and Dimitri made a joke and he said it doesn't wrinkle, she can actually sleep in it. And Angela said, I love it, I don't think that this was possible, blah blah blah, because she said she didn't think she had the face for it, and yada yada yada. And he Heidi Klum could feel that she had the confidence down the runway, and Nina Garcia said it's edgy, cool, and the style is well done. And Fabio had the film student, and she was a powerful woman and perfect and edgy. And Nina Garcia loved the look, and she looked like a professional art student. And Heidi Klum would think that you're an art student if she just saw them on the street and didn't know who she was. And the guest was like, don't like the belt, too fussy, but like the rest of the dress. And then Sanjia was a low, and Heidi Klum was, it was a bad idea to do the knot in the middle, and it needs to be longer because other than, doing a professional job, it was too low and it looked kind of slutty, and the proportions were just wrong. And let's talk about Ven, because Ven was just the last drama that we needed in the episode. Ven. Doesn't seem to like her dress. The only thing that the judges liked was the skirt. The top was horrible. The turquoise thing was horrible. The friend of the client actually started crying, and Michael Kors said the turquoise smock was just disgusting, and the guest was saying that it doesn't look comfortable or appropriate for a professional environment, and the client was not happy at all, and that's basically it. He just threw her under the bus, and it was disgusting. Disgusting. So, a bit of good news. Fabio won. I'm happy about that. And I agree, because he helped a woman who was not really in tune with her femininity not get really in tune with her femininity, but here's the picture of the winning dress. Got her into a dress. And then Nathan got kicked off, and the thing that pissed me off is Heidi Klum threatened that they would maybe have more than one person kicked off, and Ven was the last person on the stage, and he's still in the competition. Ven should have been off the competition too for the crap that he pulled on for Terry, his client. Okay, that was my review. Let me know in the comments what you think. This might be more than 15 minutes, so if it is, I apologize, but now I have the power to upload more than 15 minutes. So, suggestions, comments, topic ideas, sign the AdSense petition, fan page, like it, and stuff like that. Goodbye!